German U-boats had 45 seconds to crash dive before Allied bombers attacked. March 15, 1943. Lorient, France. Corvettenkapitän Klaus Weber studied the intelligence report, his weathered hands spreading the document across the table in U-boat headquarters. A thin smile crossed his face as he traced the Allied convoy routes with one finger. "Look at this," Weber said, tapping the paper with contempt. "The Americans think they can stop us with those flying bathtubs they call patrol bombers." Captain Lieutenant Heinrich Richter nodded, setting down his coffee cup. "Their B-24s can barely stay airborne. Our boats dive in 45 seconds. By the time their bombs hit water, we're at 50 meters. Oberleutnant Zur C. Martin Kessler, Chief Intelligence Officer for the Atlantic Fleet, shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "The production reports from America show concerning increases. Their shipyards commissioned 14 escort carriers last month alone." But Weber waved him off. 14 carriers mean nothing when we sink 20 ships for every boat we lose. At Convoy ONS-166, we destroyed 14 merchantmen and lost 1 U-boat. At SC-118, we sank 13 ships, lost 3 boats. At HX-228, we sent 8 to the bottom and lost 2 submarines. He leaned back, confident. "The mathematics are undeniable. For every U-boat lost, we destroy 7 Allied vessels." What Weber didn't know, what none of them could have known as they reviewed kill reports in that concrete bunker, was that American radar-equipped aircraft would destroy 41 U-boats in May alone within 8 weeks. The numbers would become catastrophic. 31 submarines lost in a single month. Production of American aircraft reaching 8,000 monthly. German U-boat losses exceeding replacements by 300%. The confident laughter in that smoky headquarters would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in 30,000 German submariners who would never return home. The spring of 1943 found the German U-boat force at its peak strength and confidence. At Convoy SC-121, 11 U-boats destroyed 13 merchantmen while losing 0 submarines. At HX-224, the Wolfpack sank 4 ships without loss. At ONS-165, German submarines sent 7 vessels to the bottom, losing just 1 boat. Weber himself had commanded 3 successful patrols, sinking 19 ships totaling 87,000 tons. His Type VIIC could dive from surface to 50 meters in 45 seconds, faster than any bomber could complete an attack run. The boats carried 14 torpedoes, deck guns capable of destroying small escorts, and crews trained to diving precision measured in seconds. Richter's boat had survived 4 depth charge attacks in February, each time using the 45-second crash dive to reach safety before bombs arrived. The Type VIIC displaced 769 tons surfaced, could reach 17 knots on the surface, and operated effectively to depths of 230 meters. Recent American failures reinforced German confidence. In February, a convoy escort group lost 8 merchantmen to U-boats, while American B-24 Liberators failed to sink a single submarine. Allied aircraft dropped 147 depth charges that month, achieving 0 confirmed kills. American patrol bombers flew 1,200 sorties in the North Atlantic during January and February combined, sinking 2 U-boats total. The kill ratio stood at 600 sorties per submarine destroyed. Weber's combat record exemplified U-boat effectiveness. 3 patrols, 19 ships sunk, 0 damage to his boat. First patrol, 7 ships, 31,000 tons, 42 days at sea. Second patrol, 8 ships, 39,000 tons, 38 days. Third patrol, 4 ships, 17,000 tons, 28 days. He had crash-dived 37 times, evading aircraft on each occasion. The mathematics were simple: 45 seconds to reach 50 meters, American bombs requiring 70 seconds from sighting to impact. A 25-second safety margin. Kessler's intelligence reports showed troubling data that command dismissed. American aircraft production increased 340% in 6 months, he reported to headquarters. They commissioned 47 escort carriers in 1942. Britain reports new radar systems with surface detection to 12 miles. Production comparisons showed American capacity at 6,000 aircraft monthly versus German output of 1,200. But operational commanders focused on current kill ratios, not future production. Lieutenant Zur C. Franz Becker, watch officer on U-954, had experienced American air attacks firsthand. "Their bombers are slow," he told fellow officers in Lorient. "We spotted a B-24 at 8 kilometers, ordered crash dive. The bombs hit surface 40 seconds after we passed 20 meters, just spray on the hull, nothing more. His experience matched fleet-wide reports. 38 documented attacks by American aircraft in February resulted in 0 sinkings and 2 minor damage cases. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. Willow Run, Michigan, April 1943. Henry Ford II walked through the bomber assembly line where B-24 Liberators took shape with mechanical precision. This single facility produced 428 aircraft monthly. Every 63 minutes, another bomber rolled off the line at a facility 1 mile long and a quarter-mile wide. In January 1942, America produced just 1,200 military aircraft monthly across all manufacturers. By September 1942, production reached 4,100 monthly. By April 1943, Willow Run alone was producing 428 B-24 Liberators monthly. This single facility was producing more bombers than the entire German aircraft industry. Rose Williams, previously a Detroit schoolteacher, now operated a hydraulic press producing 340 aluminum wing ribs every 8-hour shift. She produced more wing components in one shift than German subcontractors in Augsburg produced weekly. Her station, one of 12,000 on the Willow Run line, turned raw aluminum into precision aircraft components at rates that would have seemed impossible 2 years earlier. The press operated on 40-second cycles. Load aluminum sheet, activate hydraulic system, remove finished rib, inspect, stack. Williams's single station's daily output of 340 ribs exceeded the entire weekly production of Junker's Magdeburg facility, which produced 280 wing ribs weekly for all aircraft types. The comparison wasn't close. One American worker at one station in one shift outproduced an entire German factory's weekly output. James Washington, from Birmingham, Alabama, operated riveting equipment that installed 2,100 rivets daily into bomber fuselages. His single station's daily output exceeded the entire monthly rivet installation at Dornier's Munich plant, which installed 58,000 rivets monthly across all aircraft. Washington installed 2,100 daily. 26 working days meant 54,600 rivets monthly from one man at one station. One American worker exceeded an entire German facility. The mathematics were stark. The tools were identical rivet guns, aluminum sheets, pneumatic hammers. The difference was scale and organization. Washington had material delivered to his station every 12 minutes. Dornier workers spent 40% of their time locating materials. Charles Sorensen, $1-a-year man from Ford Motor Company, managed material flow that supplied 52,000 workers with 465,000 parts daily. His logistics system moved components from 1,200 suppliers to 12,000 assembly stations with precision that military planners called impossible. Parts arrived at each station on 7-minute intervals. No worker waited for materials. No station held excess inventory. The flow was continuous. Americans discarded 840 pounds of aluminum scrap daily at Willow Run. Germany allocated 620 pounds of aluminum monthly to its entire U-boat program for non-critical components. One American factory's daily waste exceeded an entire enemy nation's monthly military allocation. The waste from single-shift cafeteria operations exceeded German U-boat crew rations for an entire month. Willow Run's 3 cafeterias discarded 2,400 pounds of food daily. A Type VIIC U-boat with 44 crew members consumed 1,980 pounds of food monthly on patrol. American factory workers threw away more food in 1 day than a German submarine crew ate in 30 days. Workers threw away defective bolts that Germany rationed by the gram. Quality control rejected 12,000 bolts daily for minor imperfections. These bolts, weighing 8 pounds total, went to scrap. German U-boat maintenance facilities received 6 pounds of replacement bolts monthly for an entire flotilla of 12 submarines. America threw away daily what Germany allocated monthly to 12 submarines. The cafeteria discarded more coffee daily than Lorient U-boat base received monthly. Willow Run cafeterias discarded 93 pounds of coffee grounds daily. Lorient's entire U-boat crew complement of 3,400 men received 82 pounds of coffee monthly. American factory waste exceeded German military allocation. The aluminum waste from 1 day's production, 1,840 pounds of scrap, trimmings, and rejected parts. could have built 7 Type VIIC pressure hulls at German efficiency rates. Germany used 260 pounds of aluminum per submarine pressure hull. America discarded 7 submarines worth of aluminum daily at one factory. Kessler appeared at fleet headquarters with production reports. A single American factory produces 428 bombers monthly, he reported. Our entire aircraft industry produces 1,200 monthly across all types. One factory, 428 aircraft. We need to increase air defense. May 12, 1943. North Atlantic, 49 degrees and 32 degrees W. 1847 hours. France Becker was checking torpedo readiness when the lookout scream cut through wind noise. Aircraft, bearing 270, 4 kilometers. Becker's eyes tracked left and caught the shape, a 4-engine bomber, unusually low, approaching at speed that seemed impossible for a B-24. At 1847 hours and 20 seconds, Captain Lieutenant Ernst Vogel ordered crash dive. At 1847 hours and 55 seconds, the first depth charge exploded 10 meters from U-954's conning tower at 15-meter depth. The submarine still had 30 meters to go to reach safety depth. The bomber had closed 4 kilometers, achieved weapons release, and scored a near miss in 35 seconds. Not the 70 seconds that previous attacks required. 35 seconds. Elapsed time from sighting to first explosion, 35 seconds. Expected time based on previous attacks, 70 seconds. The bomber had cut attack time in half. At 1848 hours and 12 seconds, U-954's hull cracked under pressure at 40-meter depth as 3 more depth charges detonated in perfect bracket pattern. At 1848 hours and 47 seconds, the pressure hull failed completely. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 87 seconds. Kill time, 87 seconds. U-954 carried 44 crew members. None survived. The submarine, commissioned 9 months earlier at a cost of 4.2 million Reichsmarks, destroyed in less time than it took to brew coffee. At 1849 hours, the oil slick marked the grave. American aircraft destroyed. Kill time, 87 seconds. Total engagement duration, 2 minutes 14 seconds. Enemy losses: 1 Type VIIC submarine, 44 crew, 14 torpedoes, 769 tons displacement. American losses: 0 aircraft, 0 crew, 6 depth charges expended. Kill ratio: 1-0. The ammunition expended in this 2-minute engagement, 6 depth charges weighing 350 pounds each, plus 2,100 pounds of explosives, exceeded the monthly depth charge allocation for Lorient's entire training facility, which received 1,800 pounds of explosives monthly for training exercises. Weber reviewed the patrol report that evening. "Impossible," he stated flatly. B-24s cannot achieve attack runs in 35 seconds from 4 kilometers. The pilot exaggerated. Fear does that. Becker had survived, picked up by U-2 33 hours later, one of 7 crew members who escaped the sinking submarine. Intelligence dismissed the reports as combat exaggeration. Submarines under stress misperceive time, the analysis stated. Attacks seem faster due to adrenaline. Weber reviewed reports from U-954, U-638, and U-209, all claiming faster attack times. He stated the mathematical impossibility. B-24 Liberators cruise at 290 kilometers per hour. At 4 kilometers distance, approach requires 50 seconds minimum. Add weapons release time, descent time for depth charges, 70 seconds minimum. These reports claim 35 seconds. Therefore, the reports are false. Kessler reported to headquarters with data from 3 separate incidents. New aircraft are demonstrating attack times of 30 to 40 seconds from initial sighting at 4 kilometers. This represents a 50% reduction from previous engagement times. Recommendation: increase crash dive speed or implement immediate dive protocols on any aircraft sighting. The warning included production comparisons. American aircraft output: 8,100 monthly. German aircraft output: 1,200 monthly. American shipyards: 47 escort carriers operational. German shipyards: 0 carriers operational. American radar-equipped aircraft: 2,400 operational. German radar-equipped aircraft: 140 operational. A single American production category, radar-equipped maritime patrol aircraft, exceeded Germany's entire radar-equipped aviation inventory by 17-fold. They tried doubling lookout watches. The Americans appeared from cloud cover with no warning time. They attempted immediate crash dives on any aircraft sighting. The Americans attacked before boats reached 30 meters. They equipped boats with additional anti-aircraft guns. American aircraft attacked from beyond effective gun range. They operated in groups for mutual support. American aircraft attacked individually at night using radar and searchlights. May 24, 1943. North Atlantic, 52 degrees N 28 degrees W, 2:34 hours. U-467 detected aircraft radar at 3 kilometers. Captain Lieutenant Heinz Kummer ordered crash dive at 2:34 hours exactly. At 2:34 hours and 42 seconds, a British Wellington bomber illuminated U-467 with searchlight while at 30-meter depth. Impossible. The boat should have been invisible. At 2:35 hours and 15 seconds, depth charges bracketed the submarine at 40-meter depth. At 2:35 hours and 53 seconds, U-467's pressure hull failed. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 53 seconds. Kill time, 53 seconds. At 2:36 hours, 51 crew members were dead. American losses, 0. The engagement lasted less time than it took to recite the Lord's Prayer. Total engagement duration, 1 minute 53 seconds. Enemy losses, 1 type VIIC submarine, 51 crew, 14 torpedoes. British losses, 0 aircraft, 0 crew, 8 depth charges. Kill ratio, 1:0. The fuel consumed in this engagement, the Wellington burned 220 gallons during the attack run, exceeded weekly fuel allocation for Lorient's entire motor pool, which received 180 gallons weekly for ground vehicles. Becker observed the tactical shift from U-230's conning tower 2 weeks later. "They're hunting at night now," he reported. "Radar finds us before we see them. Searchlights blind lookouts. Depth charges arrive before we reach safe depth." His experience matched fleet-wide reports. Night attacks increased from 12 in April to 47 in May. Kessler presented final proof to headquarters on May 28. "We have lost 31 U-boats in May, 31 in 1 month. Aircraft sank or damaged 27. This exceeds our replacement capacity by 300%. We commission 9 boats monthly. We lost 31 this month. The mathematics indicate defeat." Command finally understood the scale of the disaster. Admiral Dönitz ordered temporary withdrawal from North Atlantic on May 24. Weber still refused to believe the statistics. "Temporary setback," he insisted. "New tactics will restore the balance." The 45-second crash dive remains adequate. The boats are sound. At Consolidated Aircraft's San Diego facility, B-24 production achieved 17 aircraft daily. Every 84 minutes, another bomber rolled off the assembly line. This single facility produced more bombers monthly than Germany's entire aircraft industry across all types. Americans discarded more aluminum in quality control scrap than German aircraft plants received for production. Production line workers at Consolidated threw away defective hydraulic fittings that German maintenance crews salvaged and repaired for reuse. Americans discarded 340 fittings daily for minor tolerance deviations. German U-boat maintenance at Lorient salvaged and repaired 12 hydraulic fittings monthly, carefully machining each component back to specification. America threw away 28 times what Germany salvaged, daily versus monthly. The waste from testing operations exceeded combat allocation. Consolidated test-fired 12,000 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition daily in quality control. Each bomber's 8 machine guns received 1,500 rounds tested before delivery. Lorient's U-boat flotilla received 8,400 rounds of .20 ammunition monthly for anti-aircraft defense across 12 submarines. American quality control exceeded German combat allocation. Cafeteria waste at San Diego facility exceeded German U-boat crew nutrition. The facility's 4 cafeterias discarded 3,200 pounds of food daily. 12 Type VIIC submarines with 528 total crew members consumed 2,970 pounds of food monthly on patrol. American workers discarded more food daily than 12 German submarines consumed monthly. Workers threw away damaged electrical components that Germany allocated by individual units. Quality inspectors rejected 2,400 electrical connectors daily for minor defects. These connectors went to scrap bins. German U-boat maintenance received 180 electrical connectors monthly for an entire flotilla. America discarded 13 times German monthly allocation daily. Sheet metal scrap from one shift exceeded German monthly allocation to U-boat construction. Consolidated generated 2,100 pounds of aluminum scrap per shift from cutting and forming operations. German U-boat construction allocated 1,800 pounds of aluminum monthly for all non-pressure hull components across all boats under construction. This single American facility's eight-hour waste exceeded Germany's monthly military production allocation. Kessler appeared at a staff meeting with updated statistics. Consolidated aircraft, 510 bombers monthly. Willow Run, 428 bombers monthly. Douglas, 380 bombers monthly. 3 American factories, 1,318 bombers monthly. Entire German aircraft industry, 1,200 aircraft monthly across all types, fighters, bombers, trainers, reconnaissance. 3 American bomber factories alone exceed our entire aviation industry. June 18, 1943, Bay of Biscay. 43 U-boats faced coordinated attack by 72 Allied aircraft. The engagement lasted 6 hours and 17 minutes. At 8:47 hours, 12 U-boats in transit formation detected aircraft at 6 kilometers. At 8:49 hours, 8 submarines destroyed. Kill time per aircraft, averaging 93 seconds per submarine. Aircraft attacked in pairs, one illuminating with searchlight while second dropped depth charges. No submarine reached safe depth before weapons arrived. At 9:20 hours, 15 more U-boats engaged. At 9:43 hours, 13 destroyed. 0 American losses. Aircraft rotated on station, maintaining continuous coverage. Submarines attempting surface transit were destroyed. Submarines attempting crash dives were caught at shallow depth. The tactics that worked in 1942 failed completely in 1943. At 10:15 hours, 16 U-boats attempted group surface transit with combined anti-aircraft fire. At 10:48 hours, 12 destroyed. Aircraft attacked from altitude beyond effective gun range, dropping depth charges with precision that indicated radar guidance. 3 submarines damaged by anti-aircraft fire managed to submerge, but were depth charged by following aircraft. At 11:03 hours, all 3 destroyed. Enemy aircraft destroyed. 0. 4 aircraft damaged by anti-aircraft fire, all returned to base. American losses in 6 hours of intense combat. 0 aircraft destroyed, 4 damaged, 0 crew casualties. U-boat losses, 33 submarines destroyed, 4 damaged, 1,463 crew killed, 127 survivors. Kill ratio, 33:0. The ammunition expended in this 6-hour engagement exceeded German U-boat monthly allocation for the entire Atlantic fleet. Allied aircraft expended 264 depth charges, totaling 92,400 pounds of explosives. German U-boat forces allocated 84,000 pounds of torpedoes monthly for all operational submarines. 6 hours of Allied ammunition expenditure exceeded 30 days of German combat allocation. The fuel consumed in this engagement exceeded German U-boat weekly allocation for the entire Western theater. Allied aircraft burned approximately 158,000 gallons of aviation fuel during the 6-hour operation. German U-boat forces allocated 140,000 gallons of diesel fuel weekly for all operational boats. 1 day of Allied air operations consumed more fuel than German submarines used weekly. At 13:12 hours, Klaus Weber's U-boat was hit. Captain Lieutenant Weber was on the conning tower directing anti-aircraft fire when a British Sunderland attacked from cloud cover at 1,200 meters altitude. The depth charges fell in perfect bracket. At 13:12 hours and 34 seconds, the first charge detonated at 15-meter depth while U-boat was still diving. At 13:12 hours and 59 seconds, Weber was thrown from the conning tower by the blast. At 13:13 hours and 18 seconds, the pressure hull cracked. At 13:13 hours and 41 seconds, Weber drowned as water flooded the control room. Elapsed time from engagement to death, 41 seconds. At 13:14 hours, 47 crew members were dead. Weber had commanded 3 successful patrols, sunk 19 ships, survived 37 crash dives. His experience, his confidence in the 45-second safety margin, his dismissal of American capability, all irrelevant. The mathematics he had trusted became his epitaph. A survivor's report stated, "This wasn't combat, this was systematic annihilation. They had unlimited aircraft, unlimited fuel, unlimited ammunition. We had 45 seconds to dive and nowhere to hide. The mathematics were impossible. 1 submarine versus 1 aircraft, we might survive." One submarine versus 5 aircraft in rotation, we had no chance. July 1943. Allied Interrogation Center, London. Martin Kessler sat across from British intelligence officers, his uniform stripped of insignia. "We were not defeated by better soldiers, but by better factories," he stated. "Your production exceeded ours by factors we couldn't comprehend. Consolidated Aircraft produced 510 bombers monthly. Our entire industry produced 1,200 aircraft of all types monthly. A single American factory produced more bombers than our entire aviation sector produced total aircraft. The comparison wasn't close. It was overwhelming." Intelligence officers asked about tactical awareness. Kessler's response was detailed. "I warned headquarters in March. American production increased 340% in 6 months. They commissioned 47 escort carriers in 1942. The mathematics indicated catastrophe, but operational commanders focused on current kill ratios, not future capacity. We sank 20 ships while losing 1 U-boat, therefore we were winning. But America built 50 ships for every 20 we sank, while we built 1 U-boat for every 3 they destroyed. The mathematics were against us, but command wouldn't accept it." France Becker's testimony was more direct. "I survived U-954's sinking, 87 seconds from aircraft sighting to pressure hull failure. We trained for 45-second crash dives. American aircraft attacked in 35 seconds. The margin we relied on vanished. I watched U-467 sink in 53 seconds. I watched 12 boats destroyed in 1 afternoon during Bay of Biscay operation. They didn't just outproduce us. They revolutionized production itself." Henry Ford built bombers the way he built automobiles. Continuous assembly, 1 bomber every 63 minutes. We couldn't compete with that. Additional testimonies painted consistent pictures. A U-boat engineer. "We brought sailing ship tactics to industrial warfare. Our boats were individually excellent. Their aircraft were individually adequate, but they had 8,000 aircraft to our 400 U-boats. Excellence cannot defeat arithmetic." A communications officer. "Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort. We allocated aluminum by the gram. They threw away tons daily. We rationed food carefully. Their factory cafeterias discarded more than our submarines consumed. Every resource comparison favored them by factors of 10 or 20 or 50. A veteran commander. "They could lose 100 aircraft and replace them in 8 days. We could lose 10 U-boats and required 90 days to replace them." The mathematics were brutal. Time favored them absolutely. A supply officer. "Their single factory's waste exceeded our entire production. Willow Run discarded 1,840 pounds of aluminum daily. Our entire U-boat program allocated 1,800 pounds monthly. Daily waste versus monthly production. We were competing with their garbage." Production statistics confirmed by enemy interrogation matched Allied intelligence exactly. American aircraft production reached 96,000 annually by 1943. German production reached 14,400 annually. Single American factory, Willow Run, produced 5,136 B-24 Liberators annually. Entire German bomber production, 4,200 annually. One factory exceeded an entire nation's industry. American escort carrier production, 68 commissioned in 1943. German carrier production, 0 carriers, construction abandoned. American radar-equipped aircraft, 4,100 operational by July 1943. German radar-equipped aircraft, 220 operational. American depth charge production, 180,000 monthly. German torpedo production, 2,400 monthly. Every comparison showed similar ratios. America produced between 5 and 50 times German output depending on category. U-boat losses told the statistical story. January 1943, 7 boats lost. February, 19 boats lost. March, 15 boats lost. April, 16 boats lost. May, 41 boats lost. June, 23 boats lost. July, 39 boats lost. Total, 160 U-boats destroyed in 7 months. German production, 9 boats monthly, 63 total in same period. Losses exceeded production by 254%. The specific mechanism of defeat was industrial. Allied aircraft destroyed 127 U-boats in 1943. Surface vessels destroyed 43. Mines destroyed 11. Accidents destroyed 9. Aircraft accounted for 67% of losses. Those aircraft came from American factories producing at rates Germany couldn't approach. Consolidated, 510 monthly. Willow Run, 428 monthly. Douglas, 380 monthly. Boeing 340 monthly. 4 factories, 1,658 bombers monthly. German entire aircraft industry, 1,200 monthly total production. The strategic failure was mathematical. U-boats needed to sink 700,000 tons of Allied shipping monthly to match replacement capacity. Actual sinkings in 1943, averaging 220,000 tons monthly. Shortfall, 480,000 tons monthly. Meanwhile, U-boat losses required replacement of 40 boats monthly to maintain force strength. Actual production, 9 boats monthly. Shortfall, 31 boats monthly. Every metric showed defeat. The tactical failure was temporal, 45 seconds to crash dive, 35 seconds for aircraft to attack, 10 seconds of vulnerability. At shallow depth charges were lethal. U-boats couldn't dive fast enough. American radar found submarines in darkness. American searchlights illuminated targets. American depth charges sank boats before they reached safety. The 45-second safety margin that Weber trusted disappeared when American technology reduced attack time by 50%. Kessler's final analysis was comprehensive. We faced opponents who could afford to fail. They built 8,000 aircraft monthly. If 1,000 crashed in training, they still had 7,000 operational. We built 1,200 aircraft monthly. If 200 crashed, we had only 1,000. They trained pilots with unlimited fuel. We rationed fuel for training. They tested equipment with unlimited ammunition. We salvaged and repaired ammunition. Every advantage compounded. They got better while we got weaker. The mathematics indicated inevitable defeat, but we didn't accept mathematical reality until May 1943, when 31 boats failed to return in 1 month. The human cost was calculated in dead submariners. 30,000 German U-boat crew members killed during the war. 743 U-boats lost. 40,000 crews served. 75% casualty rate. The highest of any military service in any nation during World War II. Those men died because leaders dismissed American productive capacity, because command trusted 45-second crash dives against opponents who attacked in 35 seconds, because Germany brought industrial revolution tactics to mass production warfare. The B-24 Liberator proved that democratic industrial capacity exceeded totalitarian command efficiency. Free workers at Willow Run outproduced slave labor at German plants by factors of 5 to 1 in comparable categories. Rose Williams, former schoolteacher, produced more wing ribs in one shift than Augsburg facility produced weekly. James Washington, from Birmingham, installed more rivets daily than Munich facility installed monthly. Democratic cooperation exceeded totalitarian command because free workers had material delivered every 12 minutes, while German workers spent 40% of time locating supplies. Industrial abundance buried ideological superiority under 96,000 aircraft annually. March 15, 1943. Klaus Weber had laughed at American capability, confident in 45-second crash dives and superior U-boat design. June 18, 1943. Weber drowned in 41 seconds when American aircraft destroyed his submarine before he could reach safety depth. His mockery became history's most quantifiable miscalculation. The lesson remains: dismissing democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace or underestimating free people's productive capacity invites catastrophic miscalculation. America built bombers faster than Germany built submarines. Free labor outproduced controlled labor. Industrial democracy exceeded military dictatorship. The mathematics were undeniable, but understanding came too late for 30,000 German submariners who bet their lives on 45 seconds of safety that American industry reduced to 35 seconds of vulnerability.